I saw that Charlie Day had written and directed a movie, I was both excited and worried. On the one hand, Charlie Day is an excellent actor and an amazing writer, evidenced by his range from It's Always Sunny to literally anything else that he is in. On the other hand, however, actors and writers don't tend to be the greatest directors subjectively. So I went into this with an open mind, super excited to see this basically Hollywood version of an indie movie, and, well, I came out extremely conflicted. But after thinking about it a little bit, I think I know where I land with this movie. Allow me. This is a spoiler-free review for Fool's Paradise, so please proceed if you haven't seen this movie. And if you have seen this movie, please proceed as well. Hello, my name is Montero, and thank you for joining me in my journey to watch every movie ever created. Not really, but we are gonna try to get close. Yes, this is a spoiler-free review. Look at me trying to be all, try to be a little bit more on brand. So on the surface, sure, this movie doesn't seem great. In fact, it's not fantastic like one would hope it to be, but there's a real reason for this, and it's not Charlie Day's fault. It's our own. You see, Fool's Paradise is not necessarily about any one character at all. It's really honestly about two. No spoilers, but it's radically obvious from the very first scene of this movie that it's not about who you might think it would be about. However, it goes beyond that. This movie isn't about character or character growth at all. This movie, down at its core, is about the love of filmmaking and storytelling. That is the point of this movie. That is why this movie exists. To mindlessly entertain you for an hour and a half with zero agenda, only pure entertainment and comedy. I am an It's Always Sunny fan. I was hooked in by their crazy antics and have rewatched the whole series and many of the same episodes over and over and over to the point where I can quote a few of them, and just there are some of them that are just absolutely my favorite episodes of all time. So needless to say, I was pretty giddy when I saw the supporting cast is primarily made up of It's Always Sunny crew and cast members, but also a lot of Charlie's personal friends. However, I started to wonder if the fact that there were so many obvious It's Always Sunny actors, minus 3 of the main cast members from It's Always Sunny, would inadvertently take people out of the movie because perhaps it's a little too meta, but it doesn't. Hold on to that thought because we will revisit this in a moment, but I just wanted to lay the groundwork that this movie is chock full of It's Always Sunny cast, crew, and Charlie's friends. Speaking of It's Always Sunny, I listen to the It's Always Sunny podcast. I know, I'm pretty much obsessed with these guys in this show. I am very familiar with the way the show was made and how these guys basically did their own thing because they wanted to. And they were just kind of tired of waiting around, waiting for the opportunities to arise when they could just create their own. And create their own they did. To me, that's heckin' inspiring. I want to create my own web series and my own sitcom as well, so hearing them just to get up and going and doing, that's pretty awesome to me. So the other day on the podcast, the main trio, Rob McElhenney, Charlie Day, and Glenn Howerton, spoke about the 2 movies that 2 of the members had recently made, Glenn Howerton starring in Blackberry and Charlie Day's Fool's Paradise. Rob McElhenney kept praising both movies, especially this one, and how funny, how nostalgic, and how really well done the character of Latte Prompto, Charlie's Day character, was portrayed. Here's the thing. I didn't really like Charlie's performance. Listen, Charlie Day's Latte Pronto, whose name origin honestly made me laugh out loud. That was a very well done joke, and I applaud the team for how the joke was filmed, blocked, and executed. The same can't really be said throughout the rest of the film, but we will talk about the jokes in a second here. Latte Pronto is a man who is inexplicably mute. In fact, they never really tell you why, just a speculation as to why, perhaps. That's not a spoiler, otherwise he will be sitting, waiting in that theater, waiting for the backstory for this character to be revealed, and it's never giving to you. In fact, Charlie even mentioned in the podcast that it didn't really matter because that's not the point. And I agree. My first short film, Emotionless, link in the bio, does the exact same thing. It's not about the character, it's about the situation and the feelings. Sometimes content isn't really about the character at all, and that's perfectly okay. The same with this movie. One thing I held on to for a while after this movie was, but why care about Latte Pronto if I know nothing about him? Like, I don't necessarily, I want to care, But I can't, because I know nothing about him. Well, because again, this movie isn't necessarily about him. It's about the others he meets in this film. This movie doesn't want you to feel connected with the characters. It just wants to show you a classic good time. Latte Pronto is designed to be this kind of a blank slate of a character because it's a type of suspended belief that just is far out enough to where we can escape for an hour and a half and return comfortably to our reality. Though I wasn't really a fan of Charlie's bland portrayal of his own character, and I know I dare critique someone who wrote, directed, and acted as his own character, yes. Yes, I do. Charlie Day's Pronto lacked more expressive physicality. He lacked a master stance to always draw himself back into to ground his character as a character. He also had the same tiniest expressions for everything. It was really difficult to understand if this movie was just poorly edited and it was just edited weirdly, where they just grabbed a reaction from one scene and kind of just tacked it on to the other scene, or if this was truly the intention behind the action and behind the choices. All I can say, whenever Charlie had dramatic, sudden physicality, where he was just basically just flailing about, just reacting just exaggeratedly to certain things, that's when it got funny. But the subtle, tiny ones is where I think he needs a little bit more practice. I did chuckle a few times when he went into his skittish reactions. In the end, Charlie Day, when he had more expressions than just the one, he pretty much nailed what he was going for and delivered an honest performance. However, it wasn't always that way, but you could definitely tell that this was Latte Pronto and not just Charlie Day. So he does get a pat on the back. He does get a great job for doing that because he does not seem like Charlie Day here. But to circle back to the jokes, there aren't a lot of verbal jokes in this movie. Instead, the jokes are set up by the situation and the reactions of the straight men and women, which happen to be almost always Charlie, but sometimes the other cast members as well. The jokes honestly work in that context because, again, these aren't simple sitcom jokes with an obvious setup and a zinger that gets the crowd in a good mood. No. The jokes here are set up by the situation, driven further by some dialogue, and then taken home by everyone else's reactions. It's honestly a symphony of jokes that if you're not paying attention, you'll miss it and think the movie isn't funny, when in reality, it's insanely clever. And honestly, we are used to being spoon-fed jokes and punchlines with sitcoms of old and the new and weird humor of today. So we're not used to this classic type of situational comedy. Ironic. Sitcom. This movie felt timeless, honestly, from the very beginning. The way this movie looks, from how it's filmed to the costumes and the set pieces and the coloring, you truly have no idea in what time period this movie takes place, and you truly don't even care. This isn't about a real place and a time. This is about a time and a place and things that happen in it. Charlie Day mentioned on his podcast that he took inspiration from Hal Ashby's Being There, which I'd never seen, nor do I plan on watching it with as long of a watch list that I currently have. But he also took from other inspirations like Harpo Marx, for example. He mentioned taking bits and pieces from all these classic films and tried to replicate certain styles of feels in scenes during the movie to pay homage to these classic films. Films that had set the filmmaking path for future filmmakers to come. And honestly, though I have not seen the exact films he's referenced, at least not all of them, I do and can see exactly what he is referring to. I love oldies and definitely like movies about making movies, so I was able to feel the nostalgia without ever having experienced it to begin with. And you want to know what it was? Here's my main point and thesis for this movie. Fool's Paradise is passion project the movie, and it should stand as an inspiration to any indie filmmaker or any person with a stuck dream and just need a gentle push to get them going. Yup, bold claims, I know, but once you see what I have laid out before you with all of Charlie's friends being involved, and this being a script Charlie Day had worked on for, I want to say 10 years, and when you realize movies are made to entertain and not to have an agenda, not to be analyzed or have every flaw be pointed out, but to have these types of introspective discussions and finding out what makes something truly good in its own right. If something is bad, then it's bad, but if it's good, then let's focus on that, correct? This is something I'm actually learning the past few weeks, having watched a ton of movies this past month alone. I honestly think this movie has helped me refocus myself, as I found myself getting a little too film snobbish when I kept watching things. And I don't want to be that guy. I want to enjoy movies because they were made by people with passion passion. They're made by people with a voice to tell. Again, if something is bad, Morbius, then it's bad. But if something is underhandedly good, like this one, then it's great. Movies made with pure passion, whether it's the most fantastic thing you've seen or just something that someone really just wanted to do and put all of their heart into, like Charlie Day, who made Fool's Paradise, something he was passionate about, and got his friends to not just be in the movie just because it's a job, but also be passionate about the movie and passionate about the roles, about the movie that they had made for us to enjoy. This really does remind me of my first short film, Emotionless. Again, the link is in the bio. And how I made a self mini movie premiere for myself for this movie, and how all of my friends came and were happy for me and they were excited for me because I had that passion and excitement for myself for my own movie that I made for others to enjoy. Now, my short film, in retrospect, it's an amateur short film, and it's not the greatest by any means, I know that. And I can admit it's not a masterpiece, but people are excited because I am excited when I talk about it, and Charlie Day is excited when he talks about this movie, and that's honestly what got me excited for this movie, and what got me to go watch this movie, and what got me to fully enjoy this movie. That's the valuable lesson that I took out of watching Fool's Paradise. Knowing this is a passion project made by passionate people, it becomes easier to jump on board with this movie and enjoy and have a fun ride instead of thinking, why was this even made? Fool's Paradise is tricky, but I give this an 8 out of 10, or an 83%. Fool's Paradise, at the time of this recording and this review, is out in theaters for a little bit more time, so go ahead, please check that out, and when it becomes available to stream or PVOD, wherever it is, please check it out and give Charlie Day some love. This was my spoiler-free review. What did you guys think? Did you guys see this movie? If you have seen this movie, no spoilers, but let me know what you thought in the comments below. Again, no spoilers. This is a spoiler-free review. My social media links are in the description below, as well as my Patreon and the link to my website, so check all of those out, and I will see you next time. You've just been Montified.